Hello and welcome. This is Linda. I apologize up front because I have a cold and my voice is kind of croaky, and I'm wearing my robe because I can't get warm these days with this cold. It seems to keep me on the cold side. But I wanted to do this video because a lot of times somebody asks me off and on through the years, do I have to outline? Do I have to shadow? Do I have to do those things to my slow stitch pieces? And the answer is no, you don't have to do those things. But if you want them to be more of an art piece that perhaps you're going to frame and hang, something like that, you do want to put a little extra into it, because what that does is it gives you dimension. And that's important when you're observing art from a distance. Now, up close, outlining and shadowing, it doesn't seem to do all that much. I mean, you can tell that it's done, but if you were to hang the same piece before and after and photograph them, you would see that when you do that, how much better that piece looks and how three-dimensional it looks, and how your focus goes to your object that you want people to focus on, because it's been outlined and it's been pulled up and away from that background just by that outlining. Let me try to explain what I'm talking about by this piece here. I love this piece. It's one of my favorite ones with the flowers, but the right-hand side has been outlined and shadowed. The left-hand side has not. So if you study it a little bit, you can see that this part is just kind of fading and blending in with the background. But this part, because there is an outline, it's coming up away from the background. You can see it down in the stem area. This side has been shadowed. It appears to have some thickness, some dimension to it. This side hasn't. This leaf didn't have a shadow. I just basically put more of a highlight color out here to extend that leaf a little bit. These two I'm not going to do anything with because I want them to recede into the background. And so if you can see that, if you can study that just a little bit and see that. Also, the shadowing I'm talking about is this side of the center has not had any shadowing on it. This side has. The shadowing starts here. You can see the black shadows working from underneath and out and between these petals here and then down the stem here. What that is doing is it's pulling the center up and away from the flower. It's making it look more dimensional. That will increase as I get the whole thing done, especially on this side, because this side has the lightest flower petals. This side has darker flower petals. So when I put that shadowing on the lightest petals, it's really going to pop this center up, and it's going to dimensionalize this flower. And so when it's hung or looked at from a distance, the elements will be sharper, they will be more dimensional, and it will just make the whole thing look so much better. Like I said, you don't have to do this step. It just depends what you want to do with it. And I do intend to frame this and hang it. And so I am going to put the time and effort in to detail it out more. How and where exactly you do it is just kind of up to you. I did go all the way around the outer edges. Some petals, for instance, I did a little here. I did a little in here. I did this one on the inside all the way around, and the secondary one a little bit. I did this inner one a little. So it just depends on what you choose to do what you choose to bring up. When I put the shadowing in and outline this, it raised this petal up away from this one, so it looks almost layered, like it would find it in nature. Now, again, a lot of times I will work around and do what I think it needs, and then I will put it up, stand it, put it in a frame or something, and stand it up and look at it a couple of days. And then I might pull it back down and do some additional, that's kind of how I judge it out. Or you can put it on your design wall, tack it up there, and just kind of look at it over a few days and see what you think it needs. But that is my answer to whether or not your slow stitch piece is needed. It depends on what you're going to do with it, what your intention is. If I were going to put this on a pillow or a pillowcase or something like that, I don't think I would go to all that trouble to do that. But I just really love the piece, and I really love the busyness of it. Also, the busyness of it, this outlining really helps to control that and not let everything just lose itself in everything else, okay? So this side has been done, and I'm going to work on this side a little. I'm going to outline this little bud area over here. Like I said, these back leaves right here, I don't want to just draw attention to them. I just want them to be there, but not a focal point. So I'm using 3 strands of floss, and I'm using plain black on this. It's like outlining, and in some cases it works like a drop shadow does on photographs and graphics and things like that. It just helps to focus on that element that you want focused on. And it's not something, when people look at it, they don't really pay much attention to your shadowing and things like that. Their eye goes to the flower, and unless they're a stitcher themselves and they want to see how you did certain things, they don't really notice those elements. They just work in the background, and they work for what you want it to do. But just like a drop shadow, how many times do you look at the drop shadow on graphics and photographs and in ads and things like that? You just don't. But it is what makes that photograph or graphic stand out. This was a piece I had started some time back, and I can't remember why I didn't finish it at the time, but I didn't. And so it's in my determination to get all my unfinished products finished. And I'd like to take this down. I usually use Hobby Lobby. They usually frame most of my stuff for me, and I'll take it down there and let them frame it out for me. I like to use their, I believe it's called Gallery Glass. It's a higher quality glass. It's very clear. And when you're displaying your work, you don't want it, you want it, to me, I want it as clear as I can get it, as sharp as I can get it. I don't want a low-grade glass that is diffusing the work or fogging it or anything like that. So if you're going to frame your work, pay attention to the grade of glass that you put over it. And I do frame all my work behind glass with a dust cover on the back, and that is the best way I can protect it from the elements that are in the air. And I do not hang my work where there's high humidity, like the kitchen or the bathroom or a garden room or anything like that. That would cause trouble if it was behind glass, because it will build up moisture. So I'm careful of where I hang it if I've framed it behind glass. Not everything you make do you want to frame. And you see how this is coming out. You don't really notice this black around there. It's just a little shadow, but it's raising this petal up. Okay, when you look at this side compared to this one here, this one just blends into the background, but these seem to be raised up, and it's this black outlining that's doing that. And you see I really stitch it very close when I'm outlining in black. Here, this was more like a highlight stitch. I wanted it to show as part of the stitching. But the black is not a stitch element that I really want anyone to focus on. It's more a utilitarian thing that I'm doing to make the rest of it look good. If you haven't figured it out yet, with a lot of the things you've seen of mine, I love doing florals. Florals are just, they're just endless possibilities. And slow stitching is just a wonderful way to embellish, to layer, to collage them. And so I do a lot of florals. Florals lend themselves to just about any decor too, depending on your colors. And so it's just something I really love. Now I'm going to go right down here to the bottom of this, and I'm going to put a second, maybe a third row right across that stem. To raise it up again away from the background and make it look like it ends in that stem there. Okay, let's tie this off because I'm going to change colors and show you what I'm going to do on that leaf. I won't be finishing this project in a video because it takes a little while, and you don't want to see me outlining for hours. So, but I think I will have done enough that you really understand what it is I'm talking about. Okay, now that little flower is coming up more. You see it more. It's not just fading into the background. And even this white here, even though it's very contrasty, it's just, all this is just fading into the background, and it's not standing out. So I want to take this piece. Now you notice these two pieces, I haven't done the little stem things in there yet, and I will do that later, but I will come back and put these little stemmy things in there that come up like out there like that. I hope you're seeing that like this, but I haven't done that yet. But I wanted to go around this and just show you now I'm working with a full 6-stranded floss, And I'm just going to do these back stitches, and of course this thicker floss is hard to get it through several layers of fabric sometimes. But because I use the whole 6 strands, it goes a lot faster, and it also shows up better, and I want it to show. In this case, it's a stitching element, not just a shadowing element. It's like an extension of the leaf on the edge, and it just changes colors out here. The leaf itself is not actually sewn down, and I won't sew on it anymore except to put those little veins in later. Okay, you notice this is a little darker green than what I used over here. I have 2 passes on that one, and I will do the same thing on this one. And the reason I want to do that is because I do want it to show, I do want it to be noticed, I want it to look like an extension of the leaf. Just give it a little bit more interest. And when I do the little veins, the leaf fabric will lay down. Now I did 2 passes on this leaf on the bottom and only 1 on the top. So I don't know yet what I will decide to do on this one. I had thought about maybe not even doing any on the top. Come on, there you go. We're working with the 6 strands. It's a workout, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to complete that row. Then I'm going to come up and lay another row right next to this one. And I'm liking that already. That green is looking good on that. It's playing well with the background too. I'm trying to put pretty close to the same size stitches, but I vary them a little bit from a little shorter to a little longer. Oh, you know, kind of a hopscotch type of thing. I know probably a lot of you have never outlined or shadowed any of your elements, but you can do it on your landscapes and your florals and well, just really anything that you want to really emphasize or bring out, detail out more. You can try it on some of your things that you're working on. Okay, we are about to end it here. I think I have one more stitch I want to make. Yeah, I do. I want to fill in right there. Got me a little gappy place in there I don't want to show. Okay. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so now we have this one that has a little extension of the leaf. It has the look of texture and it has the feel of texture, and it does have the same effect of lifting this leaf the same way this one does over here. Okay, now like I said, I probably won't do any more of this on camera, but I will be finishing out the outlining of this side and down the stem, on doing the shadowing around in between the petals, down the stem a little, and around this side of the center of the flower. And I think that I will be happy with it when I get it to that point, and I'll be ready to frame it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and let me lift it up a little bit here and let you see it a little bit more in detail. Okay, you keep stitching, and by all means, stay scrap happy.